Good evening. Tonight I will be presenting the work of the Hillsborough Science Professional Learning Community, or PLC, specifically the Summer Science Institute 2009. For the past 7 years, Hillsborough Township Public Schools has been in a partnership with ConnectEd of Rider University. During the first phase of this partnership, from 2003 to 2008, district teams of teachers and administrators created Big Idea modules, or BIMs, which are comprised of 3 K-12 lessons with materials centered on a big idea in science. We currently have 5 BIMs in science and math that have been designed. The second phase of our partnership with ConnectEd began in September of 2008 and centers around training to establish and sustain professional learning communities within a district for the purpose of providing teachers with continuous job-embedded professional development with a focus on maximizing student learning. 35 years of research and new state regulations are emphasizing professional learning communities as the most effective mode of professional development in schools. Dufour, and Eaker, who are considered esteemed authorities on PLCs, purport that schools must be cultures of thinking for teachers. PLCs are the venue to promote rich discussions on effective teaching and learning. The Hillsborough Science PLC leadership team at the time was comprised of 6 members from across the district. Chari Zeiss is an ASI teacher at HES. Debbie Gross and Larissa McCann are 7th grade teachers at the middle school. Debbie Burns is a kindergarten teacher at Woodfern Elementary School, and Lucille Titus is a 9th grade geophysical science teacher at the high school. We now have 2 additional members, Kelly Owens, a 5th grade teacher, and Karen Mamino, a 6th grade teacher, both at Otten Road Intermediate School. Together our goal is to make a difference, one learner at a time. The Summer Science Institute 2009 was offered from June 29th to July 2nd. There were 5 essential questions that we asked throughout the week, which served as pre-assessment questions, the focus of each day, and post-assessment questions for the day. What is science literacy, and what role does science instruction play in achieving science literacy? What is inquiry, and what role does it play in science instruction? What is the role of essential questions and big ideas in science instruction and a science curriculum? What is the role of questioning and discussion in science instruction? And how can assessment promote learning? We took a lot of pictures. These are the teachers at work. We had lots of groups. Day 1, titled Science Literacy and Science Inquiry, What Are They and Why Do They Matter? Discussed teaching versus learning, science literacy, science inquiry, and a discussion of the Big Idea module in preparation for the next day. Teaching versus learning is epitomized by the cartoon. We discussed the fact that although great teaching is occurring in Hillsborough, how do we know and how can we ensure the students are learning what is being taught? In addition, the teachers were introduced to 2 resources, Science Matters and Ready Set Science, to assist with their understanding of what students need to know by the end of high school to be considered science literate. Thanks to the support through a grant by the Hillsborough Education Foundation, each participant received a copy of Ready Set Science. During our discussion of science inquiry, the participants continued to study Ready Set Science and were introduced to 2 models of inquiry. While the models differ slightly, they contain the same essential components. On day 2, the participants experienced one of our BIMs. The participants were strategically placed in the BIM which they had the least amount of knowledge of the content because the purpose was for them to experience the inquiry nature of the lessons and see the K-12 connections. We wanted the teachers to focus on the instructional strategies utilized during the BIM and not the content or application to their classroom. Making Sense of Diversity was our life science BIM. Again, the teachers are working in groups. And they studied and analyzed and discussed and asked questions and tested and had a great experience that day. Day's 3 topic was making thinking visible through questioning, discussion, and the use of interactive notebooks. Interactive science notebooks are a tool for teachers to make students' thinking visible via the students interacting with the information in their notebooks to produce output products that demonstrate their understanding of the concepts. We documented because we wanted to model good teaching and instructional strategies that the teachers could then take back to the classroom. We mixed up the groups each day. They worked in groups and teams, collaborated, discussed, articulated. It was phenomenal. This is the leadership team preparing for the next day. Day 4 was assessing student understanding in science. And here we discussed interactive science notebooks and formative assessment versus summative assessment. We continued our discussion of interactive notebooks because they not only make thinking visible, they can be used as an assessment tool for student learning. Again, lots of discussions, lots of group work. We also engaged in a discussion of formative versus summative assessment, the differences between them, their purpose, and the role of each in assessing student understanding and mastery of the material. We had a lot of fun. We had a lot of great discussions. The teachers were thoroughly engaged all 4 days. They listened to one another. They had an opportunity to articulate vertically. We documented everything so we could make their thinking visible. They all participated. We modeled what we wanted to see. This is a picture of all the participants of the Summer Science Institute 2009. Again, we had representation K-12. I have to thank the Hillsborough Education Foundation and Rider University Connect Ed for their grant money support. Rider's grant helped purchase pins for the members of the Hillsborough Science PLC. Right now, all grade 5 to 12 science teachers have them, as well as a group of teachers at HES. The Hillsborough Education Foundation grant purchased the bag full of materials that the teachers received and utilized during the Summer Science Institute. And that consisted of a pin, a binder, a folder, a pen, a cube of note paper for their desk, and of course the Ready Set Science book. This whole starfish theme that you've seen came from this story, and we latched onto it for our vision of making a difference one learner at a time. One day, an old man was walking along the beach littered with thousands of starfish, beached and dying after a storm, when he noticed a young man picking up a starfish and gently throwing it into the ocean. Approaching the young man, the old man asked, "What are you doing?" The young man replied, "Throwing starfish back into the ocean. The surf is up and the tide is going out. If I don't throw them back, they'll die." "Son," the old man said, "don't you realize there are miles and miles of beach and hundreds of starfish? You can't possibly make a difference." After listening politely, the young man bent down, picked up another starfish, and threw it back into the surf. Then, smiling at the old man, he said, "I made a difference to that one." As our vision is making a difference one learner at a time, we've incorporated this theme into our work as a PLC. Thank you for your time, and good night.